That hurt. More verticality.
Well, here's the thing. All right, we talked about Klinsmann, but Klinsmann didn't really have a system per se, because Gregg talks a lot about the system. And what I saw in the last game, and I hope it doesn't, but it's repeated itself in other games, so don't get me wrong here, but I hope I don't see it going forward, is I saw, because of the system, a lot of constipation going on with the players. And I don't know if you see that too, when people are thinking too much about system. It doesn't feel like anybody had the freedom to like just go try something, everybody's like, there's my role and here's where I need to be on the field. When that ball's at A, I need to be at B. I don't know, are you seeing that, Jimmy? I mean, I don't want to break the allegiance between you and your other center back.
No, I don't have no my I think these guys know what it's about, and that I'm also a human being with my own opinions and stuff about how I see the game. So no, it's less about allegiances at this point. I want us to see us play as efficiently and as free flowing as possible. That and also I'm getting my coaching licenses here. I'm working on my Pro A, and so you start to see it through that lens a little bit more, and the foundations and the pillars of how you want to play. And how I like to coach is I'm going to set the parameters, and within those parameters, I want you to be yourself. And sometimes, to your point, maybe the guys are hanging on more to the parameters and not necessarily having that freedom to go out and play. And I don't know if that's from the coach or if that's just how they're interpreting what's being told to them or whatever. There's a lot of gray area, I think, there in that part of the discussion. Why I think Christian Pulisic stands out is because he does not break the mold. He maybe breaks the parameters a little bit and goes and tries to make something happen. There are times where I think he invites too much pressure, and I think he's gotten a lot better at making that next pass. If he can feel and sense that pressure coming, as that second person comes, he then unlocks that with the pass. Before, I feel like he'd invite the second person, and then the third person would come over. And now everything's kind of crowded. He doesn't have that same option to make the pass anymore. And that's where I think he's evolved a lot in his game, is seeing that stuff a little bit quicker and kind of anticipating how this whole thing's going to play out and getting rid of the ball or continue to attack in a 1v1 situation. But we can talk about Pulisic in a little bit. I would say there are some things I see from Brendan Aronson. I loved his goal against Canada in the second qualifying window, where he just sniffed out an opportunity to pressure somebody on a throw-in, stole the ball, we transition, and he ends up scoring when it goes wide and comes back in. I love that. That's jazz, and that's outside of anything Gregg told him. It's just him recognizing this is a good time to press. He makes the most of it. And then the guys made, 3 or 4 or 5 great decisions, and it ends up in the back of the net. And all of a sudden we got him on the ropes a little bit, and we just didn't manage that. In-game management after we went up 1-0 in Canada is something to be looked at. But right. And I'm sure it has been addressed. I'm sure, as you mentioned, Gregg is a student and definitely studies all that. So it's I feel like I've seen, when we first got started, it felt very system. And then when we have teams that try to play in the low block, I think we struggle. We saw it even in Bosnia against the Bosnia game. We saw it against Jamaica. It's when teams sit down in a low block, we struggle a little bit. And that's been a problem since you've been watching it for 40 years. And I've been living it for over 40 years. We've had that problem for a long time. Now, I do feel like we have the players that are good enough in 1v1 situations that can draw a little bit more attention, which should, in theory, open up more space for some of our other talented players to take advantage of. And not only that, if Pulisic makes that next pass to Gio Reyna or Pepe or Brendan Aronson or Weston McKennie, who's coming in late, can they do something with that pass? And that's been the next step in developing our players. Because we've had Wijnaldum's in the past. We've had Tab Ramos's in the past. But when they make that pass and release somebody to go, can they finish that opportunity? Can they bring an attack to completion? And I don't know if we're evolving and we're getting better at that. But maybe that's where you're like, we're not, there might be one element of somebody who's being creative, but the rest are still adhering to the parameters. And we're not finding that connect consistently. I think we see it sometimes, but it's not happening consistently. And I think that's when we're going to take that next big step forward as a national team program.
Back to the low block and how we struggle on that. I thought as much as we criticized the Bosnia game, I thought we eventually figure out how to break the low block, and it's something that we've preached for years. And I don't know at what point in our history we stopped doing this, but it requires you to shoot from outside the box. Amazing. You shoot from outside the box, make the keeper make a save, and opens up the world,
Yeah. They got to come up and get you when that happens. So, and that's the thing. We've talked about Gregg's system a lot here on this show in the 8 months since we've been back. Yes, we went away for how many years, Brett? 6
decades. Felt like
last time I was on, I guess I ended your show.
Yeah, well, and we had some great, you were one of many great guests we have. You were one of our favorites, but man, those were good days. And now we don't really have guests a lot for the show because, Brett and I do our own thing,
Yeah, sure.
And it's our sort of thing. Yeah, we do. But I do want to say that the last time you were on a show, do you remember this conversation about formations? And you're like, dudes, you are too focused on formations. They are not really meaningful. It is how the players play the game that matters. Do you remember that?
Yeah. I might have evolved from that statement, but
okay. I didn't mean to make you sound like a staff sergeant. Sorry.
No.
That.
Well, it's like there's definitely a cartoon angle to that comment. Yeah, like I felt cartoonish. Go ahead, keep going. I love it. I love that. I'm gonna steal that accent. It's amazing.
We will add that in for sure. We add all kinds of different clips in to make the show bearable. But here we go. We are heading into the January window. We've got 3 freaking games in a tinier window than last time, I believe, right?
Much colder window.
And so which game do you, Jimmy Conrad, play the B team? Or do we play the B team at all? What, just screw it? We'll just pepper in a few B guys here and there. Or do we actually pick one of these games to play the backups so everybody's fresh? And if there is such a game, what game is it?
Oh man,
we've got El Salvador.
Our biggest game is the one in the middle, whereas before we could argue the other middle games. Well, we played Canada in the middle before. We tried to go a little bit more B squad against El Salvador. The thing is, this group of players, though, will have a 2 week or 1 week lead up. I think some players will be available for 2 weeks and some won't until the week before. Getting off to the we need to get all 3 points against El Salvador at home, so you don't want to dick around with that one. Going to Canada, there's bragging rights at stake too because Canada's on fire. Fair play to our neighbors to the north. So maybe it's that last game where you consider throwing out your B squad, or you're gonna have to tell your guys to suck it. I mean, we're trying to qualify for a World Cup, man. Like, I don't really care about anybody's feelings at this point. We just need to play our best players and get after it. And I think this is the window where you don't want to dick around because then it could get a little dicey. And now you never want to get just like in 2018. We don't want to rely on anybody to help us qualify. We just want to qualify without any type of assistance. So I think this window is one where I would consider potentially throwing out our best squad every single game.
So this is the
that's what you got to do.
This is the non-dick around window.
That's we've gotten to that point now where no more dicking around.
Yeah.
And because formations, I don't give a shit about formations either. I just want just the players got to go out and play and make plays, right? There's got to be a desire to want to make plays on both sides of the ball.
But Gregg does tend to tinker a little, so he does dick around a little.
Yeah, and I was going to bring up how we brought in like more or less the B squad against Panama away, and that's the one that always sticks out of my mind as far as just throwing out a B
Too many
squad.
Too many changes.
So the big question comes down, and I know in one of the pre-pressers and everything, Berhalter said with Adams, he doesn't feel like must have been early on in the windows, but he wasn't fit enough to play 3 90-minute games and stuff like that, which obviously that's a rough spell for anybody.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
But I guess the idea would be is why not play your best starting lineup and then just make subs a little earlier each game, and then maybe
you can make 5 of them.
Maybe swap out a player every game here. Like instead of having Musa playing, you bring in Busio or something like that to give Musa a break, or then bring him in late or something. But there's no reason why you need to make 7+ changes in a lineup.
Not when you get 5 subs. You get 5 fucking subs now.
Yeah.
Come on, Jimmy.
No, the 5 subs. I actually appreciate that rule.
I love it.
I hope that we can take advantage of it. To your point, the fact that we made 7 changes for that Panama game is still way too many. He tried to do it in Honduras as well, where he made a bunch of changes, and correctly pulled the right strings at halftime to correct that mistake. And thankfully we scored 4 goals. That was Ricardo Pepe's coming out party. Anthony Robinson coming on and scoring with his weak foot really set the stage for that. It was. Yeah. So there's a lot of elements to, as you guys say, not tinkering too much, not overthinking. Tyler Adams, of all the players that I think would be willing to go 90 minutes for three games and 8, I think he can more than do that. I don't understand what the holdup is. So maybe there was some pushback behind the scenes from his club for not pushing him. Maybe they had some meaningful games that we're unaware of. I'd have to look back. My problem now, I'm looking at the schedule. We play first on the qualifying window. We play at 3:30 local time here in California. Jamaica, Mexico starts after us by 30 minutes. And Honduras, Canada starts 95 minutes after us. And I wish it was the other way around, because I feel like we could potentially tinker with, if results went our way, we could maybe take a little bit of a risk of throwing out a Busio, or maybe give Joe Scally, 90 minutes or whatever against El Salvador, knowing that we're probably going to have a lot of the ball, even though El Salvador's done a pretty good job of countering and being hard to beat. That is at home, by the way. I think at away from home, they struggle a little bit and they can get stretched out. But we could maybe tinker with that lineup before a game, 2 hours before a game, if those other games were going first. But since we kick off first, I just think we have to go for it. We got to get all 3 points. We can't mess around in that first game. Canada obviously is going to be an important one. They'll have a result. They're away to Honduras. So the first 2 games are super important, and then we can make decisions about what we want to do at home against Honduras after.
What do you make of the frozen tundra areas we've decided to play at? I mean,
at home, yeah. I think it's good prep for Canada, I suppose. But
what about after Canada, though?
Yeah, I would prefer to play in the warmth, and if I don't know, it's interesting, all the mind games that go into that. It goes back to what I said before. You're either ready when the whistle blows or you're not. It doesn't matter what's happening around you.
And I know a lot of people are complaining about the Minnesota game. Obviously, it's a little bit ridiculous. You're looking at, like, with wind chill, negative degrees, ground's going to be hard. Everything's just going to hurt a little bit more. But one thing that's funny, if you actually considered, is Honduras, who we're playing 2 days prior, are going to be playing in Honduras when it's like 90 degrees, hot, humid. And then they're immediately jumping on a plane and coming to where it's like negative 10 degrees. I mean, that's going to be rough.
Yeah, they'll be miserable, but speaking from experience, we'll be miserable too.
Yeah, I mean, you will. I mean, it brings me back to the Costa Rica snow game. Remember the snow game?
Yep.
That worked to our benefit. And I'm telling you, El Salvadorans don't like minus 30-degree weather. I mean, I'm sure there are El Salvadorans who live in Minnesota and they're perfectly fine with it. But a lot of these players do not play.
Right.
They play in more tropical situations. So, all right. So we got like 4 minutes left with you here, Jimmy, according to our timeline that we discussed earlier. So
yeah, we got 9 minutes. 9 minutes.
9 minutes.
Yeah,
okay, good. So we got more time here. All right. Good to know. So
get some injury time.
That hurt.